Hey, welcome to Workout Wednesday. I'm Chris from Divine Key, spelled QI, and today's workout we're going to be talking about the upcoming full moon that's going to be in Aries. This is the last supermoon of 2023, and it is important in a lot of ways. It's called the harvest moon because in ancient times or back in the day, they called it the harvest moon because as crops became ripe, a lot of times they would harvest during the light of the full moon because they needed to get the crop in because of weather patterns, changes, whatever. So it's important, this final full moon before we head into the winter season. We just had the autumnal equinox a few days ago, and now we're followed up with this super full moon. So we're going to talk about how to work with this full moon energy. It falls in Aries. So full moons are completions. It is when the energy starts being released from the moon again as we head back toward the new moon. So the way I work with it and the way I journal with it is for the new moons, I set intentions, things I want to occur in the upcoming days, weeks, months, year. And in the full moons, I release things and give thanks and gratitude for what I did accomplish over the past few weeks from the past new moon. So significantly, this is because it falls in Aries, so it corresponds to the completion of the cycle that started with the Aries new moon. And the Aries new moon occurred on March 21st of this year. So if you want to see what the energy is that we're wrapping up right now, then you want to go to March 21st and see what that energy was that you were working with, the intentions that you set. If you keep a moon journal like I do, and if you keep the pages, you don't have to, but if you do, then go back and see what your intention setting was in the March 21st time frame. Look at your calendar, emails, just to jog your memory and be like, oh yeah, that's what I was intending to do. And it gives you a chance to reflect. So there are some other tools. I forgot to get this out, but there are some other tools that you can work with related to this moon energy. So just give me 1 second. I meant to pull this out before we started, but I forgot to, so get that set. So let's see. The way we can work with this moon, we already talked about our moon journaling, so go back and revisit what intentions you set at the Aries new moon. And this lies on the Aries Libra axis. So that's an interesting axis because it's the me versus we axis, right? So if you look at the circle of the zodiac signs, Aries and Libra are opposite each other. So Aries is all about the me, like internally, what are you working with for you, focused on you and what you need. And Libra is usually focused on external, how can I help? What can I do to help the person? And Libra is really concerned about balance. It is the scale, the sign of the scales. So this is about balancing the we versus me axis when this full moon comes up. So working with this energy, Aries is fire. It's a cardinal fire sign. So when we talk about fire, one of the rituals that you can do is you can write on a very small piece of paper what you want to release, what it is that you were working on releasing or what you want to complete. And then you can burn that. And that brings in the element of fire and, in a safe way, in a safe container. And if you use small paper, it's not, doesn't become too big of a flare or anything. Or if you don't want to work with actual fire, but you want to bring in the fire element, then you write it on a piece of paper and then color it red, color flames on top of it. And that brings in the energy of the Aries fire. So I also mentioned both Aries and Libra were on that axis. Aries is, they're cardinal signs. So another thing you can do as you go through this full moon coming up, starting today through the next couple days. But I don't know if I mentioned, but the full moon is on Friday. So depending on your time zone, I believe in all time zones it will fall on Friday. So you can work with it a couple days before to a couple days after, but that is the range of the full moon. The full moon actually occurs on Friday of this week. So one of the ways you can do, because it's a cardinal sign, is you can, for me, that brought up the image of cardinals. So look for signs and symbols related to cardinals, because it is a cardinal sign. Cardinals are leaders, by the way, in case you didn't know that. The cardinal signs are all initiators of the zodiac. So they like to get things going. So in order to work with this energy, you could if you're wondering, if you have a question, this is the way I work with signs and symbols. If you have a question, if you're like, should I do this? Is this the right path for me? Or ask a specific question, yes or no, that can be answered that way. And then if you see the sign or symbol, if it comes into your view while you're thinking of the question or shortly after, that's a yes, right? So if you see a cardinal in any way, a sign or a symbol, and it doesn't necessarily mean cardinals like in nature cardinals, because in some parts of the world they don't have cardinals, but even the motif of a cardinal, or like in a book or on a show or anywhere that the image of a cardinal would come in to your realm, that would be a yes to that question. So that's how I work with the cardinal, this cardinal sign that I'm seeing. Some other things you can do is red is associated with the Aries color. So you can work with red stones. So I have different red stones that you could work with. One of the most popular and most common is carnelian. And carnelian's great because it is good for wealth, right? So if you have a red stone of some type, you can carry it with you on the day of the full moon or around the full moon to help with the energy of it. It helps to ground you. Red is the root chakra, so it helps to ground you. But it helps to capture that energy. So carnelian, and I have red jasper, red agate. There's different kinds of red stones. I'm not a crystal expert, so I don't know all of them. I believe this is mahogany, obsidian, or agate. So, it's any kind of red stone would work for you. So those are some examples of the ones I happen to have. And I believe that's they are. That'd be useful for you. So you can work with that. The first card that comes to mind when I think of tarot is, and this is interesting because it's not major arcana, but I think of the Seven of Pentacles. This is a harvest card to me. So when this card comes up, this is what I'm thinking of as harvest time. And this is the harvest moon. So this is the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And it is really a moment to pause, like take a pause and really observe what you're growing. So as we stretch our spirituality, as we stretch how we work with our tools, one of the ways you can do is meditate on a card, or even like if you wanted to meditate with a stone, you can just gaze at the stone, see what comes to mind, or you can meditate with a lit candle. I would light a red candle for the Aries color and meditate on the flame and see what comes in. But back to the Seven of Pentacles. So this is, what are you manifesting in the real world? And are you growing what you expect to be growing? Did you plant apples and you're growing oranges? Did you plant green beans and you're growing tomatoes? So really observe what's going on in what you've planted back in March 21st of 2023, and see if you're growing, harvesting what it is you intended. That's where the Seven of Pentacles comes in. So this is the traditional image. If you have a different deck, I would highly encourage you to go out and pull the Seven of Pentacles from whatever deck you have and take a look at it and see how it differs from the traditional and see what additional messages come in for you. This is interesting because this card is a card of pausing and inspecting, but the energy of Aries is go, go, go. So we have a little bit of a conflict going on. It is a time of having to accomplish things, but you also have to decide, am I going where I want to be going? Some additional things that come in that are useful is I work with the runes as well. So the harvest rune is Euro, which is this rune. It's a little hard to see because of the pattern of the lapis that I have, but you can see what it looks like. It's taken a year to get here. It's a harvest. It's a harvest rune, and it is also, what are we harvesting? What have you worked toward? Are you harvesting what you've been putting your energy into? And then additionally, I pulled this additional rune out because it felt like the energy of Aries to me, and that's Tiwaz. So Tiwaz is the warrior rune, and it is the ability to defend and fight for yourself. It's the ability to stand strong. So for me, this feels like Aries. And I don't know what the traditional is, but for me, this warrior rune feels like Aries energy to me. I like Hero in the sense that if you turn it sideways, it kind of gives you the idea of balance, right? The yin and yang. So it kind of ties in with the Libra as well. I love looking at runes from different directions because it will give you a different message. So those are a couple additional ways you can work with it. You can meditate and journal on what the runes are saying to you. Take a look at them and see what the message it has for you. And runes don't have to be like expensive stones. Like I have lapis. I have some that are made of glass and ceramic. Wood is the traditional. So go out and take a look at that. Let's see what else I have. Signs and symbols, red, runes. So that pretty much is all of the things that I had noted on how to work with this full moon in Aries. I'm not an astrologer. Like I take a lot of tools and I work with them the way they work for me. And I'm not a purist. So, if you are, you probably don't want to watch me. But if you aren't, if you want to dabble in and try a bunch of different things, then I'm the person for you. So come back and visit me often on YouTube. Work with your stones in any way that feels right to you as well. The red stones. Increase in wealth. Both the Seven of Pentacles and the Carnelian speak to increased wealth. So that's lovely as well. I'm not really sure what this stone is, but I really, really like it. And it has a red hue to it. It's like a reddish brown. So it's translucent. So I'm not exactly sure what it is. It might even be amber. I'm not sure, but I really like it. So don't be too constrained by what you read and hear from other people. We are all experts on what we need. So trust what is being said to you from Spirit. Spirit will guide you into the things that you are called to have. And enjoy the energy of the full supermoon in Aries this Friday. And I hope this Workout Wednesday was helpful. And I hope to see you next week here at Divine Key, spelled QI. Be well. See you then.